High-profile businessman James Packer has finally won approval to build Sydney's second casino. The New South Wales Premier Barry O'Farrell says the new Crown Casino will bring jobs and tourism when it opens after 2019. But critics claim politicians simply rubber-stamped the decision, in the process robbing Sydney of valuable harbourside land. Adam Harvey reports.
James Packer's new casino will stand at the northwestern shore of central Sydney in one of the city's most prominent positions, the balancing bookend to the Opera House.
It clearly was a fait accompli as soon as James Packer had the idea. I first thought it when I heard Mr O'Farrell enthusiastically jumping onto the bandwagon of a new casino as soon as James Packer announced he wanted one.
The final approval was announced in a surprise press conference last night.
We support this proposal because of its economic benefits to New South Wales, not just the 1,300 jobs during construction, not just the $1.3 billion investment in an iconic hotel and a magnificent site that's being developed as an international financial centre, but also for the 1,200 ongoing jobs and the additional revenue to government.
It was the final act in a decades-long quest by the Packer family.
Let's not be insulting. Of course we would love to build the Sydney Casino, and of course we would love to operate.
After missing out on the chance to build Sydney's first casino, this time Mr Packer left nothing to chance. His campaign to win a second casino licence was a lobbying blitzkrieg, led by former Labor heavyweights Mark Arbib and Carl Batar.
There's no doubt Crown's representatives, including Carl Batar and Mark Arbib, have played a strong role in lobbying all parties, I would assume, in this process. But as with everything, the opposition put up front on the table some conditions that we wanted to see met.
Mr Packer is a very wealthy man and a very powerful man. He was able to win over the government, win over the New South Wales Labor opposition, and even more surprisingly, win over the Christian Democrats, Reverend Fred Nile, a man who has a long tradition of being a morals campaigner against gambling, is now approving another casino. Everybody says it was a done deal from the outset. I tend to agree with that.
I don't actually think that that in any society you could actually stop people from lobbying on behalf of companies or companies lobbying on their own interests, just like you couldn't tell a community group or the opponents that they shouldn't lobby.
To avoid the competition and scrutiny that goes with a public tender, Mr Packer took advantage of new legislation that allowed special projects or unsolicited proposals.
Labor's interest in this was getting an iconic building and a hotel. The casino is pretty much the part that we've got to pay to get that development going.
The casino will sit at the mouth of Darling Harbour on a former container port site now known as Barangaroo. It will be aimed at wealthy gamblers and sit at the top of 70-odd stories of expensive hotel rooms and apartments. Patricia, your office here just faces onto the Barangaroo site. What's that straight outside our window?
That's two of the first three towers are well and truly under construction, and I don't think people realise the extent to which development is already occurring at Barangaroo. In terms of the attraction for tourists, in terms of the general uplift in the New South Wales economy, this is positive news. But we also know that if Sydney isn't in the game in terms of high-end rollers, in terms of attracting these Asian gamblers in particular, we're going to miss out to other cities. We are missing out. Melbourne's doing much better than we are.
Barangaroo was supposed to be a waterfront park to rival Mrs Macquarie's Point. Commercial buildings were to be tucked away in the back.
The park has become a movable feast as Mr Packer exerts more and more control over where he wants his casino.
When we won the international competition in 2006, the idea that we presented to the jury was that the entire foreshore should be inalienable public land. This is what really set it apart from the other schemes, that it kept the inevitable business interests in check, just like Macquarie Street and the Domain on the eastern side of the city have kept them in check for 100 years.
But now the casino is front and centre, swallowing a great swathe of park and even eating into a planned cove.
There's been this complete inversion of values, and now all the best sites on the foreshore, in fact the entire access to the foreshore, has been moulded, deformed to cater for the business interests.
The latest design appears to have the casino right on the waterfront, taking away what was originally going to be public park. Where it ends up will be basically at the whim of Crown Casino and at the enjoyment of the O'Farrell government at appeasing the casino industry.
Philip Tallis's park is a shadow of itself.
I think the citizens of the city will be incredibly disappointed in the sense that they've been cheated of their foreshore. Here is an enclave of exclusivity. There's nothing in it for the general public. It's all about the moneyed elites and really creating things for their needs and wants.
And these aren't even the final plans.
I think people will be extremely angry when they see the final design. They will understand that what was promised to be a public open space has effectively become a gambling precinct.
Adam Harvey reporting, and that's the program.